Texas Republicans are trying to redraw congressional districts to pick up 5 seats here in New York. What are New Yorkers going to do about it? Well, Assemblyman Micah Lasher is here to explain. Because you actually have a bill that would call for a constitutional amendment to change things. Why? And explain it to us.
The state of Texas right now, at the behest of Donald Trump, is going through an unprecedented action of changing their congressional districts.
Trying to change.
Trying to change. Texas legislators have fled the state to try to prevent there from being a quorum. But what Governor Abbott, at Trump's request, is doing is trying to redraw the congressional lines in Texas in the middle of the decade.
Is that constitutional?
It is probably constitutional, but
Why?
it is because the Constitution provides for the distribution of seats to different states after every federal census, but states can, within the boundaries of the Constitution, reapportion within their border lines. So they wouldn't
pick up a number of seats, but they could change them from Democrats to Republican or vice versa.
That's right. And what Texas is proposing to do would likely shift 5 seats from the Democratic column to the Republican column. And just to put that in perspective, it would leave Texas with 18% of its congressional seats held by Democrats in a state where Joe Biden won 46% of the vote.
So you're saying no bueno?
Well, what I'm saying is that New York can't sit on the sidelines when red states like Texas are playing by a fundamentally different set of rules, and we need to act.
But our Constitution doesn't allow you to act quickly, is that right?
That's right. Our Constitution, well, really the process that it takes to amend the Constitution takes some time. So
Two separately elected houses of the legislature.
That's right.
And then a referendum.
That's right. So we could not get this done in time for the 2026 elections. But the unfortunate reality is that I think because of Trump and the Republican Party's willingness to break through every norm and tradition to break our democracy, we're going to be living with continuous partisan redistricting for many, many years to come. And so even if we can't get it done for 26, 28 is going to be an important election, 2030 is going to be an important election, and we need to be in the game. Otherwise, New Yorkers' interests in Washington are not going to be represented.
So are you saying that New York is going to have to redraw its lines every 2 years?
What our proposal would allow New York to do is if another state has redrawn its congressional lines more than once in 10 years, New York can follow suit. So if Texas and those states step back from the brink and return to the traditional Democratic norm of drawing their congressional lines once every 10 years, we'll do the same.
But what if they do it? I mean, are you saying that if we do this constitutional amendment, could we be redrawing districts every 2 years before every congressional election?
In effect, if that becomes the norm because of the Republican Party, if Donald Trump and his proxies and state governments across the country start changing their congressional lines every 2 years, yeah, I think New York needs to be in the game.
So here's the thing. 2 congressmen, Republicans actually, including Mike Lasher of New York, are saying that they're going to introduce a bill to stop this gerrymandering. What chance do you think that has of passing in a time when there's very total partisanship in Washington? Well,
Mike Lasher, first of all, has a history of being moderate when it suits him and being Trump's handmaiden when it doesn't. So I'm very skeptical of anything that he has to say. But if the Republicans in Washington want to impose a national law that brings us back to the norms that they themselves are breaking, then I'm all for that. Color me skeptical.
So let me ask you this, though. Right now, it's just Texas. Do you think there are going to be other states, other red states, that are going to try to follow suit in this election cycle so they can affect the 2026 congressional races?
I think so. It's being actively discussed in a number of other states that where Republicans control the legislature. I think Missouri is talking about it. There are 4 or 5 states where there have been active conversations about this. And I do think that if Republicans, particularly if Republicans see that they can get away with it and Democrats will sit back with our hands tied behind their backs, then yes, I think we can expect Republicans to do this in red states around the country. And the stakes are incredibly high, and this is, I think, the important point.
Why are the stakes so high?
Because control of the Congress is a very close matter. And if Republicans can redraw their lines whenever and however they like, it will cement one-party control of Congress permanently. We will have basically no competition for control of the Congress. That's what that's what elections look like in Russia. They have elections, just the winner is foreordained, and that's what we'll have in America if Republicans get away with this.
Well, won't there be a challenge in the Supreme Court?
There may well be. Number one, it's not clear to me that there is a constitutional violation of the act of more frequent redistricting. Certainly Republicans are trampling all over the Voting Rights Act and our civil rights protections. Unfortunately, this Supreme Court has already demolished that doctrine. So I'm not particularly hopeful that we're going to find salvation in the courts. We have to find salvation in our willingness to fight back.
Yeah, but we can't even fight back for the 2026 election. So are you saying we're sort of throwing up our hands and saying it's not going to, New York is going to not be able to compete in terms of getting Democratic seats in 2026?
Well, I think I'm saying the opposite in a certain sense, which is I think throwing up your hands would be saying, since we can't do it for 2026, it's not even worth doing at all. I take the opposite view. I think that we have to play a long game. Republicans make their plans in decades and lifetimes, and Democrats are often very short-sighted with short attention spans for political strategies. We need to make this change now, so we are equipped to participate in a battle that's going to go on for many election cycles.
But what about other states that have that lean Democratic?
I would encourage every Democratic state to see themselves as one of 50 players on the field of redistricting. And when it comes to Congress, what is at stake is whether we have free and fair elections nationally for Congress. And if we have red states that can draw their lines however they want, and blue states that are holding themselves to a higher standard, that isn't free and fair elections.
So how can we, in a democracy, have a situation where we're going to have the lack of what you call free and fair elections going forward?
Well, I think we need to fight like hell.
And even if we just do it in one state, New York, what about all the rest of the states? I mean, right now, red states outweigh the blue states if you take a look at the results of the last election.
Look, let me be really clear. The direction that we're headed in as a country is nothing that I or any Democrat I know wants. The breakdown of norms, the breakdown of rules, the constant chaos. But the reality is that if Democrats don't fight back, we will lose our democracy, and New Yorkers will suffer. What we see, this isn't just ideological, what we see from the Trump regime is a program that's damaging and devastating to the people of New York, to our economy, to our health care, to our education. These people want to do enormous damage to New York. So this is about preserving our democracy, and it's about standing up for the interests of New Yorkers in Congress.
Micah Lasher, thank you for joining me. We're going to have to leave it right there for now, but we will be right back.